Okay, let us get into it. Okay, Smith, are you ready to go?
Yeah, well, I'm ready, ready.
Okay, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching or listening to us from. My name is AyoT, and this is the Niger FC podcast. As always, with me, I have my co-hosts.
Smith Layi, thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you very much for joining. Another day, another episode, another fantastic conversation coming up. We're going to keep this to about an hour, 20 minutes thereabout. As always, we'll give fans, we'll give the audience an opportunity towards the end of the program to come on and share their thoughts. I want to just welcome every single one of you again. We're streaming across three different platforms. Um, and yes, it should be an exciting conversation. We have a number of topics to talk about in such a short amount of time. So we'll try to take it as quickly as possible, also so that you guys can come on to give us your thoughts. But yes, I think Smilai, I mean, all our previous, or let me say all, our most recent, maybe like 5 or 6 episodes have been around the Paris 2024 Olympics and the Super Falcons as they were, on their journey there. The Olympics is now done and dusted, and we're switching back to our regularly scheduled programming. You know, how do you feel? Do you miss the Olympics? Do you wish we were still there? I saw that Brazil just flogged Spain today. So one of the teams from our group is in the final. But how are you feeling now that the Olympics are done and we're back to regular football?
Olympic is done for Nigeria, but not done for everyone. What I can just say basically is that I'm sad that we didn't go far in the tournament. I thought
Mm.
at least we should be able to qualify from that group since three qualified from our group, but unfortunately we didn't qualify. I just hope that I have to be honest with you. I miss the Olympics for
Mm.
Nigeria. Yes.
I mean, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, there are no free slots given out to anybody. In order to be there, you have to earn your
Yeah.
right to be there. And
Yeah.
for better or for worse, we were not able to earn our rights. We'll get to the Super Falcons later in the conversation. But let's start today on a slightly sad note. Of course, we're catching up on some things that have happened in the past because we were not really talking about other topics while the Olympics was going on. Sorry, Smith, like I'm
Hmm?
getting an echo. I can hear myself.
From me?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Okay, I think it's better now.
Okay.
Um, but but yeah. Let's start with a slightly sad note.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Terry Moffi, Super Eagle striker, Terry Moffi, player for OGC Nice. Unfortunately, he suffered an ACL injury, and that means that he's now set to miss about 8 to 9 months of action. This came during preseason. Of course, everybody's gearing up for the new season. Murphy is a striker that has dealt with little injuries every now and then. He misses maybe 5 games, he comes back. We know the quality that he has. His record in the French League One so far has been quite impressive. But now this is a setback where he's going to miss almost the entire season for Nice. When he's coming back, it will be towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you saw that news, what did you think, and what do you think about this whole situation with Murphy?
It's sad. It's sad, and I can tell you that you know, the greatest enemy of a footballer is actually what getting injured. That's why some of these guys, they dread that, getting injured. I'm sad for him because this season is like a statement season for him because they expect him to like settle now with OGC, but unfortunately will not be available. So now I'm pretty sure that OGC needs will go to the market and go and get a striker that can actually deliver for them. And when he comes back, he will now be competing with that
Mm.
striker. So it's actually very, very unfortunate. But what I can say basically is that I can just say he should get well soon. It's very, very sad news.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely very, very sad. ACL is one of those injuries that you is literally a toss of the coin. to know what kind of level the player will be performing at when they recover from the injury. Some people tear their ACL and they're never the same. Some people tear their ACL 2 times and they are
Mm-hmm.
just as good as they were before. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really one of those things that it just depends on the kind of body that you have. And also, how you take your rehab seriously, how you recover yourself, how you take care of your body. But to see a player have to miss that kind of extended period of action,
Mm-hmm.
it is just sad. It is disheartening.
Yeah.
I'm wishing him all the best. We hope that he comes back stronger. If he wants, he can fight, and instead of 8 months, he should come back in 6 months.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? Anything is possible, but it's just rather unfortunate. While we get excited to have our players in these top leagues, but this is one of the I'll say the things that can happen when you play in a competitive league and you have to be so ready. To be fair, it can happen anywhere,
Yeah.
but to lose a player that is in League One is rather unfortunate. But again, we wish him all the best. We say get well soon. We are going to be behind you, and of course, we'll be cheering you on when you eventually make your way back onto the field. So yes, that being said, we have some stories to talk about. We're going to get into transfers. Let's get into the transfers. A number of Super Eagles players have made moves in recent times, and some of them are recent, some of them are not so recent, but we haven't got a chance to talk about it, of course, because our focus was on the Olympic Games. But yeah, let's start with a Super Eagles defender, a player that, of course, has competed for Nigeria at multiple tournaments, and has just made a move. I'm talking about Chidozie Awaziem. Chidozie Awaziem has made a move to FC Cincinnati in the MLS, in the USA, Major League Soccer. He has joined the team on a deal through 2025, and of course, there's an option for a further year. Um, okay, Smith Layi, I'll let you kick this one off. When you heard the news, we first heard the rumors and then it became official. When you heard the news, Chidozie Awaziem joins FC Cincinnati. What are the first things that came to your mind?
No, just for me, I have to be honest with you as a football fan, looking at this as a football fan now, not someone very close to him. I think he's living the top European league. If you want to compete, you should stay in Europe and compete. But unfortunately, it's going to Cincinnati, and sometimes too, when I watch the MLS, the way they're defending there is like, you need to just get your blood pressure machine because it's crazy, And I don't think that place is a league that Collins Awazim can actually challenge himself. And unfortunately, for me as a football fan, I'm disappointed that he actually moved to Cincinnati. But in financial times, you have to agree with him that he needs to go and cash out too. For me, I'd rather been playing in Saudi than to go and play in Cincinnati. But you never know. He has his reasons for him to actually move to USA. For me, as a football fan, as a super good fan, I was even praying for him to leave Boavista and to go to maybe French league. Now he's going to Cincinnati, so it's like a move that is more economical than career wise.
Hmm. And I will say, I think I'm forced to agree with you. I think it's definitely more of an, I like the term I used, the more of an economical move than something thinking about career progression. Because we know this, if you are progressing in your career, you don't leave Europe to go to the MLS. In fact, MLS players dream of making it into Europe. So it's a move that he made. I would say maybe economical, partially it could be family oriented as well. He has been playing for Boavista for the past 1 or 2 years now. And I mean, we know this, it was publicized, Boavista are having financial issues. In the past season, a lot of their players getting old salaries for months on hand. Again, I don't know what he does with his money. I don't know how he spends his money, but you don't know if they don't pay you for 6 7 months. If they touch you, if especially if you are a footballer that are living a lavish lifestyle, yeah, that money is coming and you're just spending. If all of a sudden the money does not come for months on hand, it can touch you a little bit. Boavista needed the money, so they were happy to sell him. And he also is going. I don't know exactly how much the salary has not been published yet. MLS, that's what I like about MLS. They publish everybody's salary. So for Nigerian players, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. It can be a bad thing because your whole family knows how much you're making, so they know they know how to bill you. But that's how it works in America. They publicize all the salaries just for transparency purposes, and also just because of the structure of their league. But if I had to guess, I think he would be making at least $1 million a year in America. Obinna Nwobodo, who moved from Turkey to MLS with even less of a reputation than Awaziem, because Awaziem has a reputation. Super Eagles, played at AFCON, played in mainstream Europe, and Nwobodo is making like $1.4 million a year. So I can imagine Awaziem coming with a bigger reputation. Maybe because it was a bit of a desperate move, they might pay him less than that 1.4. But I'm thinking that anything less than 1 million, and he should go and sack his agents, because if you're moving me to America, you better give me some good money for playing in America. And thankfully for him, he's joining FC Cincinnati, that is one of the better sides in the MLS. So even though he's not at the highest level of competition, he's still going to be competing for trophies. Last season they won the Supporters Shield. They unfortunately lost out in the MLS Cup playoffs. And so far, he has made 2 appearances for them. I watched his debut. That one, I said, okay, let me watch this match. Got to the team in like less than 2 days, barely trained. He made his debut in the League's Cup, and he was solid. Of course, he played against a team, I think, from Mexico. It wasn't the toughest game in the world. But other than his defensive work, there were things that I liked in terms of just his passing, moving the ball around. He was just composed. Again, whenever you see these players that have played in Europe playing the MLS, you can just tell that this guy is a little bit ahead of the rest of these players. There's some very good players in the MLS, but whenever a lot of these players move from Europe, I remember when the first time I watched Wanyama play in the MLS, I was like, this guy, this is unfair now, he's cheating. I remember when I watched Defoe, when I watched Insigne, when I watched Bernardeschi, all these guys playing the MLS, and when you watch them live, it's even more glaring how good they are. And then his second game, just I think yesterday against New York City FC, he made an assist, from the back, a good pass and then a good finish from Kubo. So good starts for him. In a few years, he can get his green card. He can move with his family, live there, even after playing football. So at the end of the day, I think, yeah, football-wise, maybe not the best league in the world, but from a human point of view, it would turn out to be a good decision for him. So we wish him all the best. I hope that he goes well. But Smith Layi, before we move on to the next transfer, let's just touch. Now that Awaziem is in the MLS, what do you think this does for his Super Eagles chances? He's already been somebody that he has been on the fringe. He's been on the just on the inside, but sometimes he can be on the outside. So now that he's in the MLS, do you think he's still going to get called up if he's performing well? Or do you think even if he performs well, he's not going to get caught up again?
If he should like, he should go and play with his teeth in MLS. I don't think he should get the Super Eagles call up again. Since it's not after his career, it's after the other one, then so be it. He should not get, he's even not playing when he was playing for Vista. He's not playing for Nigeria. The last one he played, he made a terrible mistake. So he should just go and stay in MLS and be there. He should not come to Super Eagles. We need players that are ambitious. We need players that want to win. We need players that wants to still grow in their career. We don't want. It's not exceptional. If it's Messi now that went to MLS, he can still play for Argentina. But I was there even before. It's not exceptional for Nigeria. So what's then the point of calling him when he's not going to a backwater league like the MLS? So that is bye-bye. And in fact, they should even announce his original retirement, that is retired for national team. He should not play for national Nigeria.
Wow. Some strong words, I think you're a little bit harsh with the words that you're saying, and I understand that a lot of people always look down on the MLS, but again, maybe it's because I live here, so I watch them more often, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I don't think the MLS is a terrible league like the way I'm making it sound. It's not the strongest league in the world. If it was an European league or a European league rather, it would maybe be like 15th best European league, something like that. But I understand that
Sorry, which team is stronger? Which league is stronger between the Premier Liga in Portugal and MLS?
No, the Portuguese league is obviously stronger. That's not the point that I'm making.
What
But
about the Polish league?
That one is a toss of the coin, honestly.
So imagine him moving to Polish, moving for. So you have to look at it in a way.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is that I don't think the MLS is a rubbish league that a player cannot get caught up from the MLS. I think it really just depends on the available options. We have players like Igor who playing in Slavia that have not made it yet. We have players like that. So those players will probably get a nod ahead of him. I'm just saying, I'm not like, I don't look at somebody playing in the MLS and say, oh, you're no longer competing in your career. It's not
Mhm.
easy, but they have some good players. I mean, even and they have some good teams. Look at, I know it's preseason, but Aston Villa played the preseason game against, was it Columbus Crew, and they got slapped 4-1. Again, I know it's preseason, or in a competitive game, Aston Villa will probably win. But at the end of the day, people always think that all the MLS teams are pushover teams, and they are really not, honestly. Even we talk about how the defending is not great, the goalkeeping is not great. Yes, I agree, it's not as high level as other leagues. But
Mhm.
again, the errors that we see in the MLS, we see them in many other leagues. We just don't talk about it because they call it soccer, so we don't give them credit. But again, I think it will be interesting to see. I think he's obviously going to have less of a chance now to make the Super Eagles team, but it depends on the options that we have. If other players continue to step up, then yeah, probably won't get another call up.
Mhm.
Okay, but let's move on. Let's move on. Enough of Awaziem. We wish him all the best in FC Cincinnati. When he's coming to play in Canada, I'll probably go and watch the game and see him close up. But yes, kudos to him. Congratulations on the transfer. Okay, another player that has recently made a move, another Super Eagles player, a player that a lot of you know Nigerian fans definitely are aware of, have been supporting for a while, and he's one of those players that people have been challenging him for a while now to make a move. Don't be comfortable, don't sit on the bench, don't stay where things are not happening for you, but you are just happy because you're getting paid, and maybe intentionally or maybe his hand was forced. But Kelechi Iheanacho has joined Sevilla FC in the Spanish La Liga. Sevilla FC in the Spanish La Liga. Smith Layi, I'll throw this one to you again. What was your initial reaction to this move?
I was happy for him in this, that at least, he's not going to a club that is probably go and sit on the bench again. He's going to a club that he has a decent chance to challenge himself for a starting spot in that team. And, I'm also happy that he's going there with some of his familiar friends, with players like Jesus Navas, players like Chidera, Ejuke too. And I saw that unveiling too. I don't know if you saw that. The
Yeah, I did.
So also interesting, and I'm very very happy for him. And this was a very good move that he left the championship side to go to La Liga. That's a good move, not Cincinnati. So this is a good move and it's positive for Nigeria. I just hope that we'll not go and do it senior man there. It will also challenge very well so I can be started. Because if he goes to Sevilla and go and be sitting on the bench again, that's going to be sad. Though. He should go there, fight for his shirt, fight for his pace, and also what? In fact, he should go and challenge Lewandowski for top scorer
Hmm,
in La Liga. He can. You never know. He can.
hmm,
So I'm happy for this move. I'm really, really happy for him.
hmm. Okay, okay. Kelechi Iheanacho, I would say definitely a positive move, definitely a positive move. From the EFL Championship. I mean, maybe you will say from the Premier League because Leicester City got promoted. But regardless, last season he was playing in the Championship.
He wasn't
This season
that
is going
player
to.
when he go now. He's not
Okay,
that.
fair enough. He wasn't their player when he moved. He was a free agent, but
Uh,
he was part of the team that got promoted.
yeah.
But now he's going to be playing in La Liga. Sevilla, of course, is a storied club. They were practically the owners of the Europa League for how many years before they finally let it go. Unfortunately, last year was not their best year, but they are now trying to strengthen their side. They are trying to get back to the level that they feel like they can get back. Even though more than likely they're not really going to compete with Barcelona and Real Madrid for the it's usually Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, and then Sevilla are now in the next echelon of teams that are qualifying for Europa League, possibly qualifying for the Champions League. So with the Iheanacho in their side, potentially he can help them to get back to their glory days, maybe qualify for the Europa League next season and then potentially win a trophy there. Of course, he has signed a 2-year deal, not the longest contract, but I believe Kelechi Iheanacho is currently 27 or thereabouts. If he does well, there's no reason why the club will not want to keep him and offer him a new contract. And then the interesting part is that he teams up with a fellow Super Eagles player, somebody that has not been in the team recently, but we know the potential and the quality that he has, Chidera Ejuke. Um, what do you think about that link up? Iheanacho and Ejuke. Do you think now that Iheanacho is a regular in the Super Eagles, and even when he has not been playing well, he has been getting caught up. Now that he's playing with Eduke, do you think it's that will help Eduke's chances? Because people are going to be watching Kelechi, and by virtue of watching Kelechi, they would have to watch Eduke as well. Do
Mhm.
you think that would help Eduke to have a better chance of playing for the Super Eagles?
I think it's going to make it more comparable. If someone is doing well and the other one is not doing well, and the other one is not doing well is getting invitation. At least you can just can talk. But they're in the same club now. How come this one is not? So it makes it that way. But for me, I think without even Kelechi, the move Educate made to Sevilla should also put him back in the frame of Swagos call up. So, in my own opinion, I think it's going to help him. Maybe, probably the connection is going to be very good. But I still think that it can help him do well in the Liga. But national team call up, I think Ejuke is already proving that he deserves to actually want to be there again.
Hmm. All right, all right. We have some other topics to talk about, but before we get into it, let me just quickly take comments that I see that you guys are leaving across all platforms. And once again, I thank everybody for tuning in. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video. We only have 13 likes so far, which is not enough for the number of people that have tuned in. So please, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like the video. We really appreciate it. And of course, you can share on whatever platform that you're on. If you're on Instagram, please, please, please switch over to YouTube, because the live stream on Instagram is going to end in no time. Okay, so I can see Temi said, "Get well soon, Moffi." So wishing Terry Moffi all the best. Victor Udo says he better get US citizenship. US passport is priceless. We're talking about Chidozie Awaziem. Abdul Jalil says Awaziem should forget about Super Eagles and concentrate on his club career. How on earth would he move to the MLS? Okay, so Abdul Jalil doesn't agree with that move. Victor Udo comes here with a rebuttal. Victor Udo says there are many MLS players in the Mexican national team, and Nigeria can hardly or not beat Mexico. So Victor Udo is, I guess, is talking to you, Smith Layi, saying, hey, if we look down on the MLS, but Mexico, almost all their players are in the MLS, and we cannot beat them. So what does that say? Does that mean? Um, but yeah, Paul Oladile says, to me, I think the MLS is a decent league, and I rate it higher than Saudi league. Although I don't think Awaziem should be called up to the national team because he isn't good enough. So Paul, I think Paul and I are kind of on the same page. He's saying the MLS is not bad, but still, it does not mean that Awaziem should be called up. He just doesn't think he is good enough. Adegbola says, good evening, guys. For me, I think his Super Eagles career is over. Simple. Okay. Abdul Jalil also says, Sevilla is a good move for senior man Kelechi Iheanacho. And then Adegbola Temitope says, senior man made a good move. I love it. I love it. Okay. So most people are happy with senior man's move. Most people are not too excited about Awaziem's move. But yeah, let us keep the conversation going. Still on transfers, this one is probably the longest topic that we've ever had. Week after week after week after week, we come back and talk about potential transfer. Till today, season is starting in about, I don't know, 10 days or something like that. And then we still have nothing official to announce. I'm talking about our best player, the reigning African Footballer of the Year, Victor James Osimhen. Victor Osimhen, the drama surrounding his transfer has been incredible. Um, the latest news that we heard was that Chelsea have backed out of the deal because they are focusing on Samu Omorodion. They are not able to meet Osimhen's demands, his wage demands, as well as Napoli's transfer fee demands. Even though I think if you can pay 40 million for Omorodion, you can pay 25 million for somebody from Brazil that we've never heard of before. You can pay all this money for all these 18, 19-year-olds that we don't know. Then you can pay for Victor Osimhen. That's what I feel. The wages is a different conversation. I understand that teams don't like to break their wage structure for certain new players, especially if it's a player that has not played in the league before. So I can understand them having a hesitation with the wage. But with the way Chelsea is spending money on some random players here and there, I feel like they can afford Osimhen's transfer fee. Even if it's not the full release clause, they can pay like 95, and maybe they can add some, some incentives, some bonuses. Like, okay, if we win Premier League, we pay additional 5 million. If we win Champions League, we pay additional 10 million. You know, things like that. If Osimhen plays 50 games for Nigeria, we pay an additional this thing. I feel like they could have worked it out. But Smith Layi, what do you think about this whole merry-go-round that we're on and the fact that nothing has happened with regards to Osimhen? What are your thoughts?
I think two things that is actually what is stumbling block in this transfer is that Osimhen will not lower his wage. And Osimhen will not accept what? A loan. Osimhen will only accept a loan with what? With mandatory option to buy. It's not just loan. So, and the problem on Chelsea's side is this too. Chelsea doesn't want to break their wage structure. And also too, so you mentioned Omoridion too. Omoridion will be on a 7 years contract. Nobody will put Victor on a 7 years contract with that wage. Are you getting me? So, because that is so, I think they're trying to run for financial fair play. This is not last season that they're siding Caicedo, Enzo, Lavia. They're dashing people money. 100 million, 120 million. No. So, and the projection from Napoli too is that maybe what happened last year can also happen. Maybe they share the millions, you know. But unfortunately now, this transfer, no player is going for 100 million. No player. Even Flores Ruiz, that they say is 120. Nobody is pricing him. So it's not only Victor Osimhen. You know, it's also happening in different areas. If to say Mbappe is not a free agent, that would be hard for him to join Real Madrid. Because what they will be demanding will have been crazy. So for me, I think if not, you know, I'm hate to say this thing, I would have prefer Victor not to extend that contract. That would have been better, but it was just being nice in Napoli to, okay, you pay me, but because Napoli is also paying him, they also want to make money, you know, from what they have paid. So it's now like, you know, it's extremely very complicated. But Victor will not lower his wage. Victor will not go on loan. That is it.
Okay, let me ask you this question. You know, again, these things are this agents negotiation is a skill. That's the reality. You know, some people now will say, oh, Osimhen should just cave and he should just lower his wages so that he can get a move. But his agent is probably saying, no, we will hold on, and somebody will have to, if they want you, they are going to have to pay that money. You now, Smith Layi, as a commentator, what would you, if you were Osimhen's advisor, what would you advise? Because it's August 6th already that we're recording this. The season starts in about less than 2 weeks. And, you know, if he makes a move after the season starts, he wouldn't get to do preseason with the new club. So he might need some time to settle in and to get on the same page as his new teammate. So if you were his advisor, would you say, let's just lower the wages and get a move to either Chelsea, PSG, whatever the case may be, so that we can train with them and be ready for the season? Or would you say, no, he should hold on?
You know,
until somebody...
You lower your wage when you want to go and join your dream club. Which one will be in dream club here? It's also going there to play and make money. Okay, when you say you want to lower your wage and go and say you want to join PSG, what is special about PSG? When you say you want to lower your wage and go and play in Conference League, apologies for you because I know that you support them. The people wearing blue. When you say you want to lower your wage and go and play in Conference League, and you're not even sure you want to go and play with Osa Darabi or you want to lower your wage and go and be playing with them. You know, you won't say that. For me, I think Victor should not lower his wage. PSG wanted to pay Victor's wage. But the problem is this: the mode of payment from Napoli is the problem. Napoli also wanted that boy, the South Korean boy. And PSG said, no, you have to, maybe, I think they offer them one player like that. And Napoli said, no, Conte is so new. So it's a very complicated thing. For me, I think instead for Victor to go and lower his wage, he should collect that money more in Napoli. Yes, you should stay there and collect more money in Napoli.
Okay, Smith Layi, let me say, you know, it seems a little bit like you're speaking from two sides of your mouth, because you say Osimhen should stay at Napoli and continue collecting his money. But then you talk about Awaziem making a move for money, and you make it sound as if he does not care about his career again. But
Uh-huh.
we know this in every field. We
Mm-hmm.
work for money. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, we all want to get paid. I want to get paid what we believe we deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So if Osimhen stays in Napoli now, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, if he's there, they'll probably use him because he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not having a good season, maybe because he's not happy or because
Mm-hmm.
of all
Mm-hmm.
the merry-go-round,
And everything. Yeah.
yeah, would you say that that's better for him than for him? Because Osimhen, it's not as if Osimhen is broke. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as if he joins PSG or if he joins Chelsea or whoever he joins. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like he's not still going to be making millions. He will still be
Mm-hmm.
making millions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just maybe instead of 4 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he will reduce it to like 3.1 or 3.2.
Mm-hmm.
So do you really, really believe that it is better for him to stay at Napoli, be unhappy, be there and essentially just waste 1 year, or take a little bit of a pay cut and go and
Uh,
play football somewhere?
I think you have asked me two questions. I'm going to answer it briefly. I'm going to now put you in the situation.
Mm.
If you are Osimhen's, you are doing PR for Osimhen,
Mm.
and Osimhen is giving you like 100 grand in a month.
Mm.
Let me just say £100,000 in a month. And I say, AyoT, I'm going to PSG. They say I should cut my wage. So you too, you have to reduce your wage. What will you be your response?
I
So
mean, I'll probably say no.
so I'm just so you say if you want to be nice, you advise him that why can't you press more? We want to. So the issue is this: it's not because he's a big player.
Mm.
He's one of the best strikers in the world. It's not you that will dictate what he's going to do.
Mm.
So he should be able to control the situation by himself. And comparing him to Awaziem, I think it's not good because if Osimhen leaves today and go to Saudi, Osimhen proved himself in Europe before going to Saudi. But the man you are talking about, he don't prove himself in Europe.
No, so okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing them.
I know.
I'm comparing your thought process there. Because Osimhen is looking out for himself in terms of financial.
Uh-huh.
That's why he doesn't want to lower his wages.
Uh-huh.
Awaziem is looking out for himself in terms of financial.
Uh-huh.
That's why he's moving to MLS. You make it sound like Awaziem's own financial thing means that he does not care about his career again. But Osimhen's own, you say, it's because he deserves to get that money. So that's just what I'm saying. I know that there are two different levels of players. These two different leagues, levels of league. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, everybody is looking out for themselves financially. That's at the end of the day. Because Awaziem now, for example, I'm sure he must have had offers to stay in Europe, but they were probably not offering him good money or what he thought he deserved, especially because he's not a big player like Osimhen. So maybe instead of making, I don't know how much he's making at Boa Vista. Let's say he's making 50K a week at Boa Vista. It cannot even be up to 50K. Let's be realistic. Maybe like 25K a week at Boa Vista. And then somebody in Poland, like you used Poland as an example, maybe they're offering him 15K in Poland. But then America say, well, come and take 1.5 million a year. I mean, why will he now go to Poland and be collecting 15K? Because so that people will say, he's still competing, he's still in Europe. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, everybody's looking out for themselves financially. So I can't really fault any player. But before we move on from this Osimhen transfer drama talk, looking at Saudi as an option, if Osimhen makes a move to Saudi now, I remember when Al Hilal came with that monster offer, was it last year or the year before? I said it's more I will take that money because that money was the kind of money that your children's children, they might never have to work if you collect that kind of money. So if Saudi comes back now and they say we are ready to, in fact, we will add 100% to whatever you're making now and we'll pay the transfer fee, would you say he should take the Saudi offer?
The way it is, in fact, out of all Nigerian players, it's only Victor Osimhen and Trost Ekong. I think they are worthy of going to Saudi and they will still stay the national team. Because for me, they have proved themselves. It's not as if you cannot see quality is quality. But I know that Victor still got some unfinished business in Europe. Victor will still want to compete in Champions League. So that's why I think that the option, it might not be the option might not be there yet for him. Like, I know that he's not thinking about Saudi, but for me, if he wants to go, he should go. It's only him and Ekong that have, that I know that, okay, when they go to Saudi, they still deserve to be called up to the national team. That is it, because they have proved themselves. So, in my opinion, if only Saudi, he can go to Saudi on loan, and come back to Europe after 1 year or two. Like this guy did, the guy from Newcastle. What is it, Maxima?
Sir Maxima.
Maxima. He just want to collect the money and came back quickly to Europe. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Before we move on, let me just quickly see what people are saying in the comments very, very quickly. Somebody says, I said this before. I think Osimhen has a substandard agent. First, making him to sign that contract. That is the root of all this problem. Okay, so it's talking about Osimhen's contract renewal. But to put it into context, to be fair, maybe that contract is the root of all this problem, because the contract, of course, tied him to Napoli for longer. So Napoli can be more. They have a stronger foot now in terms of transfer fee negotiation, because obviously it's different if you're negotiating somebody on the final year of his contract versus somebody that has 3 more years to go. Another thing is that contract is what gave him these increased wages that he now does not want to lower. Before that contract, he was making money, but when they gave him that contract, I think they upped him to like 250K or something like that. So he started making serious money, So that contract maybe is actually the root of all the problem. But then, in hindsight is 2020. We can say it was not the right decision. But at the time, Napoli had agreed with him that they will let him go as long as he wants to go. The financial situation around football was not as tight as it is now. Teams were still splashing money last summer. So the situation was not so tight. But then it is what it is. Now is less, likely for him to make that move and to make the kind of move at the terms that he wants. But I'm still believing that move will come about. I'm still believing that move will come about. And at the end of the day, we're going to be happy for him. The only thing that I pray is that the move happens, very soon, in the next 2 weeks, so that he can hit the ground running with his new team, rather than joining them maybe on deadline day. Then he now needs to find his feet. Then people are now already insulting him, laughing at him, saying, "Oh, he's not doing well," things like that. Because I know Osimhen has a strong mentality, but these things can affect players. Even now, Napoli have not been playing him in their preseason games, so he's just training. He's not even getting match fitness, match action. So imagine not playing any preseason game at all. You now sign for maybe Chelsea. Then all of a sudden now Chelsea's played against Liverpool. They say, "Yeah, come and make your debut." It can be difficult. But we wish him all the very best for sure. Somebody here on YouTube, Victor Uday, says, "Let's be honest. I love Victor, but he's very injury prone, and he will often leave the team in the middle of the season to play in AFCON." So, Smith Layi, do you think this can be something that is deterring certain clubs from signing him? Because yes, Osimhen, every season Osimhen has at least 1 or 2 injuries, and then AFCON is every 2 years. So now, if somebody pays 110 million for him, for example, you know that every 2 years in January, your best striker is going to be going for AFCON. Can that be a reason why he's not getting a move?
See, you don't. That is not a reason for him not getting a move. See, Victor Osimhen is a class player. If he's not, it's like I remember when Charlie Adams, signed for Man United. Alex Ferguson said that, what's it called? His crosses is worth like £10,000. One cross. Tell you. So Victor playing the game alone for you can even put you in a very good frame of winning the league. In my own opinion, I don't think that that's a problem. I think that you have to look at the quality of what you are getting. It's what should be the issue. So, in my own opinion, I don't think that is a problem. So, some African players are still getting moves and they're still getting signed. They're still going to go to AFCON. So, I don't think Victor should be an exemption, in my own case. Yes.
All right. Let me just take the rest of the comments that we have very, very quickly about this Osimhen move. Abdul Jalil says, if he stays at Napoli, I don't think he will be a first choice striker because Antonio Conte wants to bring Romelu Lukaku at all costs. So Abdul Jalil is saying if he stays, like maybe he stays to just be collecting his money, that he might not be first choice because Conte likes Lukaku. Adigbola says, for me, what I want to say may sound crazy, but the truth is, I think Victor should consider his career first because Conte will not play him. Victor needs to apply common sense now. Okay. Chisom is saying Victor should at least go on loan and leave next summer rather than staying on the bench throughout the season. So Chisom is saying, even though Osimhen's agent has said he absolutely is not going to go on loan, that Osimhen's agent too are strong head. Again, strong head can be a good thing, but sometimes it can also come back and bite you in the butt, depending on how things. Because I know people that have held their ground and said, no, I'm not accepting less, and then eventually somebody came and gave them what they wanted. And there are also people that have stood their ground and then they did not even get half of what they were looking for at the end of the day. So we have to just hope that it turns out in Victor Osimhen's favor. But nevertheless, he's still our best striker. He's still our best player. Still the African Player of the Year, at least until maybe Lukman wins the next one. So we're going to keep supporting him, and we're going to be looking forward. When he finally makes that transfer, we'll come and talk about it. Whenever it happens. Okay, let us move on to the next topic. Let's take one more transfer segment before we move into another thing entirely. This player is a Super Eagles player, I'll say recent Super Eagles player. And there's been a lot of talks about him in the past, AC Milan, Barcelona, blah blah blah. And we're still waiting, we're still looking to see if something is going to happen this summer. I'm talking about Rafael Onyedika, player for Club Brugge currently. Even though the Belgian league season has started, he hasn't featured yet. His coach had initially said that he's expecting Onyedika to make a move this summer. So Smith Layi, you're our own Fabrizio with all the latest news. So what's the latest on Rafael Onyedika? What potential move are we looking at for him?
I know that there's a move on the card for him, and I think Club Brugge, they actually were expecting a bid, but during the course of the season, when he came back from AFCON, we read about the Baka transfer rumor. That was when Xavi Hernandez was actually the coach of Barcelona, but now there's change of power. Power have changed hands in Barcelona now. It's now Hansi Flick. We are not sure. Maybe Hansi Flick actually was still wanted to sign Rafael Onyedika. But one of the best newspaper in Spain is Mundo Deportivo. For them to report Rafael Onyedika's link to Barca, that means that there's element of truth in that. And there's also been a rumor too that it might sign for Atletico Madrid. But the problem is that I think Atletico Madrid just signed Conor Gallagher from Chelsea. So I don't know, maybe that move will actually what happened. Now, because of the man that is falling down in Man United, Casemiro. So there's been a lot of rumors too that what's it called? Frank might actually look for Rafael Onyedika. That's like for 3 days now or 4. I've been hearing that even from the locals here. That it's a cheap. I don't call it, with due respect, it's not a cheap alternative, but it's just like someone that can actually come in cheap and can be a good buy for United. But one thing that I will not forget Crystal Palace too. It's the current manager, very good manager, is actually a big fan of Rafael Onyedika. So I think at some point, Crystal Palace will put in a bid, but and I think Onyedika. I think they already signed the replacement for Onyedika, so I think Onyedika is meant to actually leave. I think even himself wants to leave. I just hope that it will be like the Polo, no issue.
That he will now leave and join Ipswich.
So I think that it's going to actually move. But for now, there's no really concrete offer on the ground. Just like Iheanacho, let me just mention that Aston Villa wanted him, but there's no concrete offer, and I think the money was low too.
And I mean, I'm also expecting him to move again, like I said, because his coach of Club Brugge has come out and said it himself that he expects him to make a move. So if the coach comes out and says that, then it means that there's probably some negotiations going on. Talks already happening. Again, I just hope that for him, I hope that the move can happen soon. He is currently out with a knock. That's why he has not played for Club Brugge, even though their season has started. He's out with a knock. But I just hope that at least the transfer can happen soon so that he can adapt, he can have time to settle into his new team. Because if he goes to a league like Spain, maybe it might not be too difficult for him because it's more of a technical game in Spain. But if he goes to a league like the English Premier League, where there's a lot of gra, there's a lot of running around, I don't want him to just be there and then the game is just happening and he's just lost on the field type of thing. But I guess I'll ask a question. The fact that he's being linked to clubs like Barcelona, clubs like Atletico de Madrid, clubs like Manchester United, what does that say about the player that we have?
It means that he's a quality player. I've never doubted Onyedika's ability. I don't know the reason why Jose Pacero never played him. He played him, but he didn't really trust him. I don't know the reason why even Philip the Judge did not even trust him, despite that when he came in against Africa, he made sure that things were done in the right way. He scored the goal for Nigeria against Benin Republic, if you remember. So he's a guy that I don't think we really appreciate what he's doing. But for those that can see very well, Onyedika is a very, very good player, and he's a lively player. I love Onyedika. He's one of the players I really love the national team. So for me, I think they see something that we don't see. And I want us to know, and also Nigerians too, we don't watch French. You watch Belgian League now, you know how good Onyedika is.
Yeah.
But Nigerians don't watch only the Premier League. So if he joins a La Liga club, a Premier League club, then we'll go, Onyedika is doing well. But I can tell you that with due respect, I think Onyedika will grow and be better than Frank Onyeka. Yes.
All right. I won't even comment on that too much. Even though I'll say I agree with you. I think he has more abilities than Frank Onyeka. Frank Onyeka is energetic, is the tank, he can run up and down. But Onyedika rather has ability on the ball. He can actually pass the ball well. We see that his shooting is getting better. He's getting a little bit more involved in attack. And Onyedika, I don't want to make comparisons before people will say I'm hyping him too much. But, but I think he has a large upside. And we cannot forget that he's still a young player, So by the time another 3-4 years, he'll be much better than what he is right now. Okay. So I'll take one comment on Onyedika. Chisom says, I think Onyedika should go to Crystal Palace. To me, that is a good club. And from there, he can move to a bigger club. He'll get more game time. Man U won't be great for him, but I love and wish him all the best. Okay, I'll take a second comment. Chinwoke says, Onyedika is so good. I always wondered why Pesero never trusted him. He's a ball carrying midfielder and he can shoot too. So a lot of people have praise for Raphael Onyedika. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing what transfer, whichever one it is, we're of course going to be supporting him and we will be wishing him all the very best. Okay, I know that there's more transfers that people want us to talk about or rumors. Unfortunately, we can't get into everything today. Like I always say, if there's anything you want us to discuss, make sure you leave it in the comments so that we can see that people want us to talk about it and we'll talk about it on the next episode. But if we already start the show, we already have our lineup of topics, and then you start throwing things in the comments, we cannot really just add things to the conversation because, again, we have a time constraint and we're already prepared for certain topics. Okay, but yes, let's now move away from transfers. And I normally don't like to talk about preseason. Normally, I don't like to talk about preseason because at the end of the day, it's just friendly matches. It's preseason. Some teams will be fantastic in preseason. May season starts now. Everything's scatter. Some teams will be rubbish in preseason. Like Man City now, for example, their preseason so far is not great. But we know that, once season should start like this, they will get it firing again. But the reason why I'm talking about preseason is this particular player. Last year, I think I gave him a lot of stick. I criticized his performances. I think Smith Layi also criticized his performances. He didn't live up to the billing of what we expected for him after he made a move. But so far, this preseason, Samuel Chukwueze has been impressive. Samuel Chukwueze. He has played 3 preseason games for AC Milan. The first game against Rapid, okay performance, nothing too spectacular. The second game against Manchester City, he made 2 assists to help his team get a 3-2 victory. The third preseason game against almighty Real Madrid, he scored the only goal of the game, for a 1-0 victory. So, Smith Layi, when you look at Samuel Chukwueze's performance this preseason, Do you care? Do you care? Or is it just preseason and you're not bothered?
One thing that you cannot deny is Samuel Chukwueze is a top player, when he wants to be. But the problem with Samuel Chukwueze is what? Is that he's not consistent. That is the issue. I remember there was a game we played against Real Madrid. This same Real Madrid. And he scored, he nearly killed them. You remember that game when he scored like 2 goals or so in the season before he left for AC Milan,
Yeah.
But after that game, what happened? So the issue with him is that he's capable of flashes like this. But the issue is this. Can he do it in 3 months? Can he do it in 6 months? If he can do it, in fact, if Samuel Chukwueze can be on this form for 1 season, those watching, I'll do giveaway.
How much? 1 million.
No, I will give you. I will it won't be up to 1 million, but I will buy a good strikers merch, and I will share it. So for me, the issue is just about that it's not actually what consistent. That's the issue. It's not. It's a top player. It's just not consistent. That's the problem with him.
Okay, and when you see the way he's performing, I understand what you're saying about consistency. That's one of his banes for the past few years. But do you have confidence in him? Do you believe that maybe now that he's becoming a man, he's currently 25 years old, he's getting to the peak of his powers. Do you think that he can take this motivation, this inspiration, the joy of scoring goals, assisting goals in preseason? Can he take that and translate it into the new season? Do you think he can?
I think he can. I'll be so happy if he can go and score that same goal against Monza or against Como or away against Bologna. If you can do those things, I'll be so happy. But for me, like you said earlier, I don't really care about preseason. I want him to go and do it in a San Siro against Inter Milan. I want him to go and do it on the okay. There's no wet Tuesday in Italy, so you should go and do it against Fabregas. Is it Como? You should go and do it against
Udinese.
Against Maduka Okoye. You should go and do it maybe probably in Turin, against Juventus. Or against
Atalanta.
Atalanta. Those are the things I want him to do. Yes.
Okay. I'll say for me, like I said, I again, it's just preseason, so I cannot get carried away. But it made me a little bit excited, just because, again, I'm happy to see him start to show some quality. Some of the assists that he made, the goal that he scored, when you watch his play, it's not just about scoring the goal or getting the assist. It's about that little bit of quality that he's showing. It's about the decision making, showing that, okay, you're not just a player that wants to just dribble with no end product. You actually realize that a player is making a run into the box. Baba, cross this ball, let him get on the end of it and get a finish. Knowing how to be in the right positions to get on the end of balls to be able to score goals yourself. I think being confident enough to take on players and beat players and get a crossing, I think those are the things that are making me a little bit excited. But like you mentioned, the main question is, can he do it on a wet Tuesday night in Turin? Can he do it on a wet Tuesday night in Udinese? Those are when it's going to matter. A lot of people are saying that the new coach trusts him. Yes, they have a new coach, Paulo Fonseca, the former coach of Lille. Is now the AC Milan coach. And I think maybe the coach trusts him more. Maybe the coach is playing a style that fits him more. Again, maybe the coach hasn't seen Pulisic yet because Pulisic played in the Copa, so he resumed late. We don't know. But he's getting his chance. He's getting his chance now in preseason, and he's showing up. Yeah. So at least if somebody does well in preseason, it means that the coach would at least give him a chance when the season starts. And like we said, it's all about how he's able to take that opportunity and if he's able to make it translate. We've never doubted the quality that Chukwueze has. We know how talented he is. But can he now step up to this level? I think AC Milan have shown him the utmost love and support since he joined them. They've been so supportive of him. The fans like him, everything. It's just about if he can step up. He shouldn't let all these Rafael Leao outshine him. He shouldn't let Pulisic outshine him. He needs to compete. He shouldn't let Noah Okafor outshine him. He needs to compete. He needs to stamp himself on that team. He needs to win a starting 11 shirt. And the sky is the limit, or the sky might even just be his starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just take comments very, very quickly on Samuel Chukwueze's preseason form. Chinwo Kenamani says, I care with an exclamation mark. And I think the coach trusts him. I felt that Pioli's tactics weren't favorable for him. His deliveries are getting better too. Felix Peters also says, the new coach trusts him. I believe he will do well. Victor Ude says, Chukwueze is similar to Lukman, but he lacks the work rate and he needs to know when to release the ball. He lacks in mentality. Abdul Jalil says, I never doubted his ability, but he's not consistent. I am 100% sure that he'll get more playing time because Fonseca really loves him. In fact, if you watch their training, you'll know what I'm talking about. Then Adeotun says, stop blaming Pioli. Chukwueze wasn't the better of himself last season. Emeka says Chukwueze likes big matches. So I think Emeka is saying, yes, he can do it on a wet Tuesday night in Turin. Okay. Anthony Addy says Chukwueze's talent is not in doubt, but it's the inconsistency. Can he play good in 6 straight league matches? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Taiwo Kunade says the new coach believes in Chukwueze and it is reflecting in his games. So some people believe in him. Some people are saying, hey, consistency has always been his issue. Can he be consistent? We have to wait and see. But one thing I will say is that we're all rooting for him as Nigerian fans, as Nigerian football fans especially. We wish him all the best. We want him to be consistent. That is our prayer. So that when he plays for the national team, we can see that consistency translate into his game. And also so that we can see that we have another Nigerian football player that is playing at the top of his game in the top league or in one of the top leagues in Europe and in the world. Okay, let us move on to the next topic that we have. And I know a lot of people have been asking, and Smith Layi, this is where you will take charge again. Oh, Super Eagles, Super Eagles, Super Eagles. We are 32 days away from our next game. 32 days. And at the moment, the Super Eagles do not have a head coach. 32 days to go. With 32 days to go, which I think would mean that we are supposed to be maybe getting the squad list in the next 14 days thereabouts, so that we know who is coming to camp before the window, the international window opens. The last we heard about this coaching position, we heard that the Malian coach, Chele, was the favorite. Our good friend reported, OJB, that in fact, the Nigerian delegation had flown to Paris to meet with him and discuss terms. But till now, we haven't had any further updates. So, Smith, is there anything that we don't know that you know? What can you tell us? What's the latest on the Super Eagles coaching situation?
The league reporter, Toby Adepoju, is a Nigerian journalist, reported today. He also has some inside sources in the NFF. So 2 coaches have been summoned today to submit their financial proposal. And that is actually what Ava Renard, the now free coach, and also what Tom Santifer, the coach of Philippines. So they want to know exactly what it's going to cost for them to actually coach the national team, which I think that why are they doing this thing now when you should have done this thing for a very long time. So that is the latest on it now. So and before that, I think the NFF Technical Committee and also with the help of Amaju Pinnick too, I think recommended that Eric Chile should be the coach. And as you mentioned earlier too, our France-based journalist to OJB too, can confirm that the sports minister actually was met with the agent of the French or what's called the Malian coach. But the issue is that they have not been able. I know that they had a discussion and it was very fruitful, but I think the proposed term in this contract for the Malian coach was actually 6 months. No, 4 months just to come and coach these qualifiers and see if he's going to qualify before they sack him again. Just to know that it's very, very crazy. So for me, it's sad. I won't lie to you. I'm also hearing that the NFF too, they're planning to install an interim coach, for Nigeria. before they actually get the deal signed for the new foreign coach. And that interim coach could be actually what be Salisu Yusuf, to take them to lead Nigeria. So it's a messy situation, and I'm really really sad that all those sport ministers coming out to say that they are working on it. That audio, that just audio, and you can say this when people come out and criticize me that why am I so negative? It's not negative because I know these people. They will know how to get things done. So I won't lie to you. You mentioned it 2 days before our game against Benin Republic. There's no coach, and it's sad. It's sad.
Hmm. It is sad indeed. I don't even know what to say. It's something that Finidi George, in fact, I cannot even remember when he left, but it feels like such a long time ago that you would have thought that by now we would know exactly what we are doing. We would know who is taking over. Things would have been agreed. And, even if they've not announced it, you would think that things would have been concluded by now. But with the team list, having to come in a short time, then they are probably already started sending letters to clubs saying, hey, this player we probably would want him in September for the international break, things like, because they have to send it to clubs ahead of time. So who is now the person that is forming this list of players that will play in the game against Benin Republic and Rwanda? Only God knows who is forming. So it's not nice to see. It doesn't make me happy. But I just hope that at the end of the day, they get it right. I hope that at the end of the day they get it right. They're asking Renard how much he wants. If he call his price now, are they ready to pay? Or are they just asking, just make it not be like say we no try? So how much do you want? Because it's like me now going to go and meet maybe I don't know, let's say Carol Shabalala now that works for Supersport, veteran journalist. And I say, oh, Carol, I want to hire you for a good tracker. How much is your money? Then by the time she calls, I say, sorry, I cannot pay. It's like, you cannot afford. Why are you disturbing the person? So I hope I hope it's not just audio. I hope it's not window shopping. I hope that they're actually really ready to make this thing happen. If the man says, hey, this is what I want at the terms I want, I hope they're ready to make it happen. Are they ready to allow the person to bring his assistant? I know that yes, they would want 1 or 2 Nigerian assistants to be there, which is normal. But are they ready to allow the person to bring his own team that he trusts and he has worked with for a long time? Would they pay those people, or would they now ask him to cut out of his salary to pay them? These are the things. Would they let the person select who he wants to select and not start telling him that, oh, there's one boy here that we want to promote, bring him to the team, or there's one boy there that must be in the team, or oh, this guy did not greet me, so don't call this guy up again? Would they allow the coach actually do his job? These are the questions. 32 days to our game against Benin Republic, but we hope that at least within the next, by the grace of God, when we do our episode next week, I hope that we have some kind of updates, concrete, serious updates, because these are the little things that affect players, that affect teams, and we don't know. But then when they don't perform on the field, fans will start insulting the players and start saying, oh, they are not good, they're not that, they're not this, they're not that. We talk about the Olympics that's currently going on, not even just in football, across all the sports that we're competing in. These are the little things that our athletes are not getting that are making them falter. Look at Favor of Philly. Shout out to her. Fantastic athletes that just finished 6th in the 200 meters women's final. Unfortunately, she couldn't compete in the 100 meters because of administrative issues. Her mental state could not have been so great. Obviously missing out on one dream and then just having to recover and refocus and just say, you know what, I'll try my best in this other one. Whereas the 100 could have been a warm-up for the 200, could have been a precursor for the 200. Maybe she competed in the 100 and did really well. It would have calmed her down going into this 200, but it didn't happen like that. I saw that after her race, she finished 6th. She was crying after the race. These are not the things that we want to see. The amount of issues that these players go through behind the scenes. I hope that the Super Eagles are able to get a coach, not the one that they will just call one coach last minute to come and come and train the team. Then they will now play 1-1 against Benin Republic. Fans will now start saying, oh, if it's for their club, they can do it. It's for their national team, they can't do it. Because whenever fans say that thing, I always ask the question, that you guys have, think if they can do it for their club, why do you think they cannot do it for the national team? It's because of these little things that go on behind the scenes. Just lack of preparation, bad flights, no coach, all these things. I hope that the NFF can get it right, and I hope that whoever they hire, they at least give the person all the necessary tools to be able to do the job and to be able to do the job to the best of their ability. And please, 4 month contract is a joke. 4 month contract is a joke. I know that they are scared of having to sack somebody and having to pay the person off, but no manager that is worth his salt would want a 4 month contract. At least you give the person a 1 year contract, let them implement their plan. You know, 4 months is not magic that they are doing. Even if Everett takes over the team, he's not just going to transform the team in a month. He has to implement his ideas. Again, national team is not like club that you are coaching players every day, day in, day out. You get a camp, a 2 week period. You can only train them for 4 days before the first match, another 3 days before the second match. So whoever it is, they need to give the person time. And we hope that because these games are so important, we hope that they get it right. And we hope that the Super Eagles can get back on track, because they're not on track right now, to qualify for the World Cup coming up in 2026 in the USA, Canada, and Mexico as well. Okay, very quickly, let me just go back to the comments and see what people are saying. Shout out to TC Gogo. We appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He's talking about Chukwueze here though, but he says, I haven't been watching his preseason. Has he learned how to use his right foot now? He's asking about Chukwueze. I don't think Chukwueze would ever be a player that he really uses his right foot. But I think one of the things that I like now is that he's not scared to at least try to run down the line. He's not always just, run and cut back, because then you can get quite predictable. Let me see. Prince Chukura says, Renard couldn't win with the French female team. Do you think we should go for him? I mean, not winning with the French female team does not mean that he's not a good coach. That's just the reality of the situation. And of course, it's different. The French women's team have had their issues for some time now. That's part of the reason why they even called him up to come and take over the team and help them. Obviously he would have wanted a better performance, but I wouldn't discount him just because of this disappointment at the Olympics. Let me see. Adebola says, for me, the Nigerian Football Federation and sports ministries are on serious people. Okay. Abdul Jalil says, Osneguavon will be in charge of player invitation. So he's talking about the invitations for this match, or these matches coming up in September. He says Osneguavon will be in charge. Okay. We have one more topic to talk about before we take calls for the last, about 10 minutes. So if you want to come on to share your thoughts, I'm going to post the link now on all platforms. Please just make sure you have good lighting so that we can see your face. Make sure that you are well dressed, because nobody wants to see your body. Make sure that you're in a decent situation. If you are watching on your TV or on another device, make sure you just mute that device so that we're not getting any echo, any feedback. But yes, the link has now been posted on all platforms. So we'll take a few calls. We'll have to make it quick, because we'll only have about 10 minutes to take calls before we have to wrap it up. Okay, Smith Layi, final topic that I want to take today. Like I said at the start of the program, for the past 18, 20 days thereabouts, our focus had been on the Super Falcons of Nigeria and their Olympic campaign. Now the tournament is over. Unfortunately for us, it was 3 games, 3 defeats, home early. One of the teams that we faced in the group stage that beat us 1-0, Brazil, they made it to the final of the tournament. One of the teams that beat us 1-0, Spain, they are playing in the bronze medal match. So looking at the Super Falcons now, the aftermath, the post-mortem, where do you think this team goes from here, Smith Layi?
Yeah, it's a very tough question now that is pregnant with meaning. But for me, I think we need to learn how to win again. Learn how to dominate games and actually what win. Because we're looking at this team, we know that I like Randy Wardrum, fantastic manager. He was able to organize this team. But I think that this team can do better than what they are doing. And the coach must have a strategy. Like we must have different strategy to actually approach different games. When I saw the tactics that the Brazilian coach used today against Spain, the Spanish team they were not familiar with the tactics. And it's just good to be flexible. For me, I think the team should still stay with the coach. The coach should stay with the team, but I think it should chop for players that can give him options. One, I think we are toothless up front. We need to get a goal scorer. We need to get someone who can score goals. Unfortunately, our goal scorer is already on the wrong end too, of age. She's no longer young again. Our main goal scorer. That's what Agbabola herself, Oshuala. I think we need to get a goal scorer. We need to get players that can create opportunities in this team. I know that we're solid defensively, but we also need ball players. So, in my own opinion, if Randy Wardrum is going to stay with this team, he should chop for players that can actually improve this team. For me, I think that's where to go for this team. If we go with this team to the next AFCON, we'll not win the next AFCON. If there's no improvement with this team, we'll not win the next AFCON. We'll just be surprised again that maybe Morocco or South Africa will come again. We are out. So I think it needs to chop for players. We need to improve this team in some certain areas. For example, now looking for replacement for Christy Uchebe and Deborah Abiodun if they are injured. Looking for a proper number 10 that can handle the ball, I can move with the ball very well. So I think we need those little positions. As looking for a right back that can defend well, not necessarily beautiful. We need to look for anybody that can play for us. I can tell you, if it's in Kaduna, if it's in Maduguri, if it's in Yola, any who can, even if it's in America, if it's in, I don't know where you live, even Toronto, look as far as they qualify for play for Nigeria. No matter their background, please call them up if they're going to improve this team. That is it.
And I will say, obviously, people that watch me know that I love the Super Falcons. I have a special affiliation to them. When I created a good striker in 2019, the first tournament I ever covered was the 2019 World Cup, where the Super Falcons, played in. So since then, I've just always loved the team. I remember reaching out to them, trying to get interviews, and the players were so happy because they were telling me then that they are going to World Cup. They said nobody has even reached out to them to even ask them about the tournaments or talk about it. So when I reached out, they were so excited. Even me with my 100 followers that time, they were still so happy to talk because somebody was finally shining a light on them. So I've always loved the team. Olympics, disappointing. We've said this already. We don't have to get into it. 3 games, 3 defeats. It's not what we want. No matter who you play, even if we played all the best 3 countries in the world, you don't want to just go there and come out with 0 points. But I think for sure I want the coach to stay. I'm sure people are not surprised to hear me say this. I think that the coach has done a good job right now. Even though it looks as if things have plateaued and are not going up still, they need to be able to continue to push up. And I think one of the things that they need is consistency. I've spoken to a few of the Super Falcons players after the tournament, and I have an interview coming up with Nicole Payne that will be on our platform very soon. We'll talk about her career. We'll talk about the Olympics as well. And a lot of the things that the players are telling me is that they want the coach to stay. When we're talking about the NFF with the Super Eagles, there's a lot of things that the players are lacking. I remember how the players had to fight to get a fitness coach. I remember they had to fight. It was an argument. They put their bonuses on the line just to fight for a fitness coach. The backroom staff of the Super Falcons is very weak. They have a coach. No matter what you think of that coach, whether it's the best coach in the world or it's the worst coach in the world, that coach needs some help, needs some support. Get him quality people that he trusts, that have resumes, that are deserving of the role to support the team. The opponents we face have multiple coaches, 4 or 5 people that are working day in, day out to make their teams better. We need that kind of team as well with the Super Falcons. Without quality coaches, without quality support from Randy Wardrum, they can only go so far. So that's something I would say. They need quality around them. Again, unfortunately for us, we cannot go and buy players. We can only use who qualifies to be a Nigerian. But like Smith Layi said, we need to search far and wide. The way we were able to find Michelle Alozie to come and help us a little bit. The way we were able to find Esther Okoronkwo to come and help us a little bit. When I interviewed Okoronkwo, she said she came into Super Falcons through the window. No, be even back down. Her window she used to join the team. but she has shown us that she's a good player. The way we were able to find Jennifer Echegini playing in college. I have girls that send me DMs that say, hey, I play in Ireland. I'm Irish and Nigerian. I play in England. I'm English and Nigerian. And I would love a chance to represent Nigeria. I have about 5 of them in my DM as I'm talking to you today. They need to find these girls, even from the youth level, integrate them into the system, treat them well. Sometimes when these girls reach out to me, I find it hard to say, yes, come and play for us. Because the same way, I also have a girl that played for Nigeria under 20. Under 20, not even a professional footballer. And they told her to pay for her flights, that they will give her the money back. 3 years later, she still a DM me, say, oh, more AyoT, I never see my money. A 19-year-old girl, imagine. She probably had to go and borrow money to pay for that flight just because she wanted to represent her country. 3 years later, she's still fighting for that money. She told me that nobody's picking her call again. She's sending a message, nobody's answering her. So we need to get many things right. There are some things that I know that the players went through, even at this Olympics. Even the coach himself, I just don't have rights to say certain things because they were told to me in confidence. But even the coach himself, some things that he went through on a personal basis, just to be able to coach the team at this Olympics, things that the players went through at this Olympics. So we need to get many of these backroom things right. The coach did an interview with ESPN just yesterday or today, and he spoke about how, when he joined, he wanted to bring a different kind of organization that we did not have before. He wanted us to be able to do things the right way. But then how many years down the line since he joined, and we are still doing things the exact same way that we were doing them before? We need to get these things right. We need to give the players adequate preparation. Again, we are talented. We always talk about how, some people won't tell you that there's somebody in Ibadan that is better than Messi. Some people will tell you that there's somebody in Akure that is better than Ronaldo. We say all these things about how we have so much talent. And don't get me wrong, I agree. Nigerians are supremely talented. But if we are not able to put the platforms in place, put the resources in place, put the facilities in place to harness these talents, put the structures in place for these talents to grow, then we are going to continue to fall short. Look at our sports. Across all sports in Nigeria, we're a maybe team. Maybe. Nearly. Look at Super Eagles. Nearly. Super Falcons. Nearly. Basketball. Nearly. Every once in a while, we'll beat one big team. We'll be excited. But then after that, we'll come back down again. Back down to earth. We need to get many, many things right so that we can stop being a nearly team and we can start being a team that achieves. As much as it pained me that we did not win the last AFCON, now I'm talking about Super Eagles. If we had won the AFCON, NFF would have thought, things are going great. We're doing a fantastic job, but then we didn't win it. So it opened people's eyes to continue to see that many things are not going right. And the ladies, they imagine as bad as things are for the Super Eagles. Trust me, it is ×2 for the Super Falcons. It is ×2 for the Super Falcons. So there's many things that we need to get right. But coming back to what next, I think they should keep the team together, keep the coach. Some of the experienced players like Ohale, probably on the outside looking in. Chukwueze, probably on the outside looking in. Oshoala, I think, will still be in the team, but we have to start thinking about life after her. The older players like Ainde, for example, she's like 28, 29 now. Unfortunately, she missed this Olympics because of injury. We have to start thinking of, what if she's not available, who can we bring in that will be able to do a job at the same level? The areas that we are not doing well, like in attack, unfortunately, the coach cannot be teaching the attackers how to shoot. At this level, that's not what he's supposed to teach them. But we need to figure out why we are getting things wrong and how we can improve. If it is that we need to go and scout for one Nigerian-born striker somewhere that is deadly, we need to scout and implement and integrate the person into the team. Once we can get these things right, we will start to, surpass being a nearly team. It is not a good sign that if we are missing 2 of our first team players, all of a sudden we don't look like the team that we know that we can be. It's not a good thing. We need to have depth. We need to have a good bench. We need to have adequate replacements. We are top heavy right now. And even that top that we are heavy, they are not firing on all cylinders. So many things to be fixed, But I think there's so much potential in this team. There's so much that can be done if the NFF and the coach and the players give everything. I know that the players are already giving everything. The coach is giving as much as he can give right now, but there's more to give. But for him to give that more, I think the NFF needs to also give their own. Because, for example, he's working part time for the Super Falcons. So, just by virtue of having two jobs, he can only give so much time to Nigeria. If he was working full time, I believe that he'll be doing a better job because every single day he wakes up, all he'll be thinking about is Nigerian football, Super Falcons. He will actually have time to be traveling to games to go and watch players. He will actually have time to be scouting, to see who is doing well, who is not doing well. But he doesn't have all that time now. And the reason is because of the NFF and their cheap salary that they are paying him. And unfortunately, even that cheap salary, they are still owing him. They still owe him from time to time, so he cannot quit his job. These are the little things. When we play against the Morocco now at the next WAFCON, if Morocco should beat us, people will be saying, how can Morocco be beating us? Super Falcons used to be so good. But then they don't look at all the things that Morocco are doing. They just hired the coach that won the World Cup with Spain last year. They are trying their hardest. Yes, I know that we used to win these competitions with ease before. Some people say, sometimes I undermine the achievements of the former Super Falcons players. And if it sounds like that, I apologize. But for me, I look at it that we used to win a lot when other national teams were not even paying any attention to their own female teams. Before Botswana, then they play women's football. Even all them Cameroon, all those, they didn't used to take it seriously. Morocco did not take it seriously. In fact, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but up until maybe last 20 years or so, Moroccan women themselves, they could barely allowed to play football. South Africa, now that all this, every country now is taking it seriously. So it's not a surprise that teams are catching up to us because everybody's taking it seriously. We are not. We are not. It's only when it's time for tournaments that we pay attention to the team. Many things that we need to get right. But all in all, we'll keep supporting the Super Falcons. There's a WAFCON coming up next year. Of course, we want them to win it. But then it's not their bet right anymore. For anybody that thinks that we're just going to go there and we'll just walk over everybody and win it, it's not our bet right anymore. Other teams have stepped up, other national teams have stepped up. It's not our bet right. We would need to get things right. We will need to be very good. We will need to prepare properly. And maybe we'll have one or two new players in the team by then. Let's see. But yeah, in the absence of calls, let me just read one or two, three comments, and then we'll call it a night. Once again, I thank everybody that has joined this live program. Always a pleasure talking football. Without our audience, we wouldn't be here talking. If there's anything that you want us to talk about on the next episode, please make sure you leave it in the comments so that we can see it. If you have any argument, anything, leave it in the comments. If you look, I always reply as many comments as possible. Okay, we have one caller. 1 minute, please, just because we're already out of time. And then we'll call it a night. Yes, welcome, Victor.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to
Good, how are
meet
you?
you all.
Yes,
I'm
thank you
great.
for
I'm
joining.
great. Awesome. So, first of all, there's something I wanted to call out. You said something like we are very top heavy with the Super Falcons. First of all, I think that our main problem with the Super Falcons right now is not being top heavy. I think it's the change in mentality. There was a break, a very huge break between the last World Cup and now, and all the competitions that we've been playing. One of the best things that has happened to the Super Falcons of Nigeria was the match against Morocco, where we had two red cards against the host nation, stadium packed, and we held these people for complete 70 minutes. We didn't just hold them, we almost won. In fact, in the extra time, Gift Monday hit the bar once. We held them and we were strong. That was the moment we learned how not to lose. That was the
Mm.
moment that we now understood that, hey, we have good defenders, and we not just have good defenders, but we have good defenders that can track back. We have defenders that are fast. We have defenders that are physical. In a team like this, those kind of defenders will do better with high press. This is women's football. I keep saying it over and over again. The speed of transition is different. If you are sitting back and dropping deep, when you get back the ball to transition back to attack is a problem because of the speed of women's football. And there's bound to be mistakes. Look at the World Cup that we just came from before we came to this Olympics. We Ever since that Morocco game, once we learned that okay, we have good defenders that can track back, that can fall back, we started pressing high and we performed very well in that World Cup. We pressed so high that we were making defenders make mistakes. If you look at the goal against if you look at the goals against I believe it was New Zealand or Australia, I've forgotten. If you notice, Ohale as a defender was out there pressing. Ohale scored a goal. If you notice, Asisa Oshoala scored that goal too because of high press. We press high. We make sure that these defenders make mistakes because many times, many of these female footballers, especially the defenders, are not good with the ball on their feet. You understand what I'm saying? So what
Mm.
I'm saying is that our main problem is that we came to Paris to defend, and there is no this mentality of we are top heavy has made us lose confidence in our defenders, and we are not playing as we are not using the defenders to the best of our abilities. If you
Mm.
look at Japan, the game against Japan, when we started pressing high, we scored one. And then in the second half, the Japanese knew that, oh, these girls are now pressing high. They couldn't score again.
Mm.
You understand? And now let me go back to the Super Eagles because I remember we talked about Super Eagles before I joined. Let me just quickly wrap it up. Awesome. So when it comes to the Super Eagles, we're talking about a team, not individuals. For me, when I've been studying my coaching, I use the Super Eagles and Super Falcons a lot as my case study. When it comes to the Super Eagles, our main problem is that we're not building a team. The main For me, my philosophy, short-term philosophy is danger, long-term philosophy is fear. Now, if we are not dangerous, then we have problems. It's not about the talent. The whistle is blown at least once every minute in a 90-minute game. Which throwing specialist do we have? Which offside specialists which free kick? When last did we score a free kick? When last did we score a corner kick? All these little things are what makes up a team. We have to be dangerous during throw-ins. We have to be dangerous during free kicks. We have to be dangerous during corner kicks. In fact, Argentina beat us with a corner kick some World Cups ago. Argentina beat us with a free kick the last time we met them. And many of these competitions that we go in, even in the AFCON that we lost before this last AFCON, it was a free kick that kicked us out. We don't
Mm.
have any specialists. When we're building teams, we have to think of the ability of the players that we're bringing in. We have to think of, okay, how do we become a dangerous team? And long term is how do we make teams afraid of us? So
Mm.
that's all I just wanted to add. Thank you so much for
All
having
right,
me.
thank you very much. I like what you were saying. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so we cannot
Yeah, no problem.
keep going. But you made some good points there that I definitely think are worthy of notes. Thank you very much, Victor, for
Awesome.
joining. Okay, so I wish I could really comment on a lot of things that he was saying, but unfortunately, we're out of time, so we have to call it a night. I'll just take a few comments very quickly before we go. Once again, if you're on YouTube, please make sure you like the video before you leave. We only have 32 likes, and we can do much better for the number of people that have come in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can always leave a super chat on YouTube, or you can get yourself some merchandise on eaglestrackershop.com. Fantastic hats, hoodies, phone cases, t-shirts, and so much more to rep Nigerian football, and also help us to support the brand. And a percentage of all the revenue that we make goes back into our community, goes back into grassroots football, goes back to our audience as giveaways. We always try to do our parts to give back. So we appreciate every single person that supports the channel and supports what we're doing here. Okay, but very quickly, some comments. Isioma says Esther Okonkwo should be molded into the main striker. MySpace Place says you should start the scouting program. If you're happy to sponsor, I'm happy to do it. Somebody says I think it's the right time for the coach to leave, and people like Floris Sebastian and Esther Oyeneze, they deserve to play for this team. I can't get into that, but I don't really agree. Somebody says, IoT, you just nailed it on the issues Super Falcons are facing. You were spot on. Femi Mike says, Super Falcons continued with Randy in the training for Olympics. They were tying ropes to football poles and then to their legs. Imagine NFF should get world class facilities. Felix says, no, that's not okay. It's not on Super Falcons, but Felix says, I just said Frederick and Daga have been invited for AFCON qualifier. The MPF social media just posted it. Okay, let's see. Femi Mike says, Randy Waldrum is the best female coach Nigeria has ever produced, and one person said on nuclear Super Falcons players need to forget too much respect. Henry says, nice call IoT. How can we analyze and fault the girls when we don't pay or give them good attention? There's many comments that I cannot really take everything. Olu says Wardrum should stay, but needs friendlies to set up the team in a way to defend and attack properly. It was friendlies that helped him get his right with the tactics at the World Cup in 2023. So yes, that's the final comment I'll take for today. For people that are asking questions about things that we did not discuss today, like I always say, anything you want us to discuss, leave it in the comments. We always read the comments and we would note it for the next episode. But if you throw it at us during the show when we already have a plan, it's not really going to be easy for us to take it. I want to appreciate every single person for joining. Look out for more content on Eagles Tracker. We have a new show, or let me know. I mean, we're rebranding it, so technically it's a new show, but it's similar to something that we've done in the past. A trivia style show where our audience will have a chance to win up to 50,000 naira on every episode by answering just simple 12 questions around Nigerian football, and you can go home with 50,000 naira. We are going to start the show in about 2 weeks. It's going to be every Friday evening. It's going to be exciting. Fantastic one. Wait for people to engage, for people to learn, and for people to make some money. If you want to sponsor, hit us up, send a DM. We're still looking for sponsors. But yeah, we're going to start that very, very soon. And then the idea is that we'll do a number of episodes. Then the top 4 people will come back on and they'll play for a chance to win about 250,000 naira. So it's going to be very interesting, very engaging. We also have some interviews that are coming up. Francis Zoho interview should be out in about 2 weeks. Nico Payne interview should be out in about 3 weeks. Next week, expect to see an interview with Ebele Oguche. I had to put the Oguche interview on hold just because of the Olympics. But interview with Ebele Oguche should come out next week. Zoho should come out the week after. Nico Payne should come out the week after that, and so much more. I'm trying to talk to as many footballers as possible, trying to get these stories to you guys, talk to some top players, talk to some not so top players so that we can get to know them. And lots of interesting content. If there's any other type of content that you want to see, guys, please leave it in the comments. Suggest what you want us to talk about. Suggest the kind of content you want us to do. More entertaining content, more game shows, whatever it is. Just leave your suggestions and we'll take as many as possible. Smith Layi, we've run over our time, so we have to call it a night. But I think it was another interesting episode for sure. Final word from you.
Yeah, thank you guys for staying with us for close to 2 hours now. Really actually would appreciate you. Guys, just keep supporting Nigerian football. That's the most important thing.
Yes, keep supporting Nigerian football. And until next time, my name is AyoT. My co-host is
Smith Layi.